Well, of course, we've got a huge fire up there. We've got huge winds right now. And it's really important for people to help each other. It's really important for everybody to band together. And don't worry about your personal property. Just get out. Get your loved ones and get out.
Thank you so much. Look at that.
Let's go through a couple of these clips here, Rob. If you can pull up. First one I want to go through is Diddy. So here's Diddy Combs. He is on Breakfast Club. And Charlemagne the God is asking a question.
The scene opens with raging wildfires tearing through the LA hills, engulfing homes and trees in fiery destruction. Helicopter shots show neighborhoods shrouded in smoke. A family watches in shock as their street is evacuated. "We never thought it would reach us," whispers Sarah, clutching her young son. The camera pans to the firefighters, their faces grim but determined, racing to battle the blaze.
The number of people killed has risen to 16 and a dozen are missing after 5 days of these devastating fires. The two biggest blazes in the city remain largely uncontained and more strong winds are forecast over the coming days. Now, those two fires have destroyed an area more than twice the size of New York's Manhattan. No cause has yet been established for these fires, and firefighters have made some progress against the worst of the infernos, the Palisades fire, which has scorched nearly 35 square miles. And it's described as being 11% contained. Now, that basically means that barriers or fire breaks have been placed around 11% of its perimeter. And the Palisades fire is now threatening Brentwood. That's one of LA's most exclusive neighborhoods, where celebrities like Arnold Schwarzenegger and the basketball star LeBron James have their homes. There have also been dramatic scenes of aircraft dropping thousands of gallons of fire retardant on the hills and the scrub. It's all in an attempt to put out the blazes. But if the winds do pick up, it will be harder to get those aircraft and the helicopters into the air. More than 12,000 homes and other buildings have been destroyed so far. The second biggest blaze is the Eaton fire, and it's destroyed more than 20 square miles, and it was described as being 15% contained. Firefighters have mostly contained two smaller blazes, the Kenneth and the Hearst fires. However, the National Weather Service is warning that the Santa Ana winds that whipped up the fires at the outset could increase again over the weekend and also in the next coming few days. 7 neighbouring states, the federal government, Canada and also Mexico have sent resources to California. Well, our first report comes from Helena Humphrey, who is in LA.
Still, the fires grow, hungry and unrelenting, as firefighters remain locked in a battle against nature's fury. From the sky, it's an all-out assault to keep the largest of these deadly wildfires in the Pacific Palisades from spreading any further, bombarding the flaming hills with water and fire retardant. Meanwhile, on the ground, the National Guard is out in force. A nighttime curfew is in effect to clamp down on those profiting from the chaos.
A lot of crime, a lot of people trying to steal things, but if you protect yourself and your family, I have to be there to protect my wife, my son, my kids, my mom, and I cannot even go and see them. I've been in the street for 3 days. Luckily, my sister lived on the street, or else I'd end up in the street.
But this unprecedented crisis is also bringing out the best in humanity. At a local shelter in Pasadena, volunteers are caring for more than 450 animals, dropped off by evacuees or found wandering amid the destruction. Others who escaped with only the clothes on their backs are desperately searching for the beloved pets they lost in the scramble to get out.
Survivors here have lost everything, entire homes reduced to rubble. And with days of winds now forecast, it's a race against time to stop these fires from spreading further.
Los Angeles knows it needs all the help it can get. And with a change of administration looming in Washington, Local officials say they've yet to hear from the incoming president.
I wrote a letter to President-elect Trump.
News footage shows the remains of celebrity mansions, charred gates, and scorched luxury cars. "This was my dream home," says actor James Monroe, standing amid the ruins. Tears streak his soot-covered face as he describes fleeing with nothing but his dog and a backpack. The anchor's voice echoes, "Even the stars aren't immune to nature's fury."
Catastrophe in California. A Los Angeles disaster movie roars to life.
Whoa! This was like an 80-mile-an-hour blowtorch.
I came out and I saw a fireball.
Do you know what you're going to do now?
How do I get to my house?
Tonight, homes in ashes.
Oh, God, it's gone.
I hadn't cried until I got here.
Lives in chaos.
My parents tried to get me out of here, but I couldn't leave.
I can't go, bro. 51 years, man, I've been in this house.
Heroes in action.
You haven't slept? Not really. You got control on one, and then the winds pick up.
The flames are...
People online are questioning whether these fires conveniently erased evidence investigators might have been looking for. Is it all just bad timing, or is there something more to this? Either way, these theories are sparking a lot of chatter online.
They're going to probably be arresting me just because we want to have a good time.
Multiple safes broken into, drawers ripped open, closets ransacked, boxes of gun ammo and Grammy Awards. New images from TMZ show inside Diddy's ransacked Beverly Hills mansion during the coast-to-coast raids where no arrests were made.
People in the home are traditionally detained during raids, so they don't flee, and so they don't destroy evidence.
The rapper's attorney calls it a witch hunt with an excessive show of force and hostility that led to a premature rush to judgment, adding Diddy will continue to fight every single day to clear his name.
They don't execute these types of search warrants until they believe they have an...
As you know, where I live is on fire right now. Literally, the entire city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And you know, I flew here last night. I was on a plane, started getting texts, and it's gnarly, you guys. It's just a catastrophe in Southern California. Obviously, there have been horrific fires in many places. This is literally where I live. Everything. The market I shop in, the schools my kids go to, friends, many friends now have lost their homes. So it's a really...
Quincy, Justin Bieber,
so far
French
so good.
Montana.
Do we even know half the people you're naming?
No.
She didn't go to bed. I haven't been to bed yet.
You haven't? I want to be Clay when I grow up, Court.
I got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Go to this party. I think half the people there were...
That financier spender Jeffrey Epstein died while he was locked up at the Metropolitan Correction Center in New York pending trial on his own federal charges. Officials concluded that he took his own life, although, as you know, there have been a long list of rumors and conspiracy theories that he had been murdered. But here's the big thing. Brings me what I want to talk about today. Because as we've dug into the dozens of pages of legal documents surrounding the indictment and any possible bail, we have heard Combs compared now to two infamous...
Firefighters stumble upon a burned-out vehicle near Mulholland Drive. Inside, remnants of a family's belongings and heartbreaking evidence of lives lost tell a tragic story. The news spreads rapidly, sending shockwaves through the community. A somber voiceover narrates, "The fire took not just homes but dreams and lives." The clip ends with a firefighter silently removing his helmet, his face heavy with grief.
And to visit the county to see the impact firsthand that it has on every socioeconomic individual in this county.
For now, it is all hands on deck. Firefighting crews have arrived from across the United States, with Mexico and Canada sending in battle-tested teams of their own. They know that any pickup in the now notorious Santa Ana winds could wipe out their hard-won progress in an instant. Helena Humphrey, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Well, as Helena was mentioning there, Mexico is among one of the countries which has sent firefighters to assist in combating these wildfires, as local officials seek to draft in help from across the US as well. 2 plane loads of more than 70 firefighters, along with their equipment, landed in LA International Airport on Saturday, and they were greeted by California's Governor Gavin Newsom. The firefighters are expected to join combating efforts within the next 36 hours, and Gavin Newsom talked about the new help efforts.
This is what friends do. This is what relationships are all about. Friends in need, being there for one another. We want to be there for the people of Mexico in times of need and disasters, and we're incredibly humbled and grateful that the president was willing to send the crew you see behind me. They'll be out on the line through the next 24, 36 hours, and we're very, very grateful.
Well, they're going to be joining the hundreds of firefighters who are working around the clock to tackle these blazes. Liz Lynn is president of the LA Fire Department Foundation. It's been assisting firefighters in the area. She spoke about just how tough it's been for them.
The firefighters are now on day 5 or 6. They have been there since day 1. We are normally during a fire season, which happens in the fall. Very rarely do we have something in January. You see one fire. There's something like 6 fires, and they keep popping up. And what's even more usual is that the fire behavior and the winds are things we've never seen. We saw this in Hawaii a couple of years ago, and we're seeing it here. And unpredictable behavior, uncontrollable winds, driving these fires to cause mass devastation. It's unprecedented in the city of LA and in the nation for what we're seeing. And my only mission is to serve the Los Angeles Fire Department with that, anything that they need during these fires, anything that the budgets didn't support, anything that helps them do the job that they do to save lives and protect the community, we will fund. And our funding depends on the general public. So this morning I was at Palisades and I bought some technology equipment because some of the computers and things were failing. Hero wipes, eye goggles, something as simple as eye drops, making sure that they have everything that they need to keep them safe, to keep them healthy, and to keep them doing this job. I was in Palisades this morning touring the sites. We had a couple of our canine therapy dogs available, not only for the firefighters, but for the families that were starting to come in and seeing their homes and the devastation that a street and a block where it's completely decimated, and then there's one house standing, and you ask yourself why. And so it's very, very emotional, and fortunately we have some resources that we can use.
Firefighter Maria Sanchez recalls a harrowing rescue mission. "We were surrounded by flames, but we had to keep going," she says. Her team saved a family of 4, including their elderly grandmother, trapped in their home. Footage shows the family tearfully embracing their rescuers. "You're our heroes," they whisper as Maria fights back tears.
Witnessed the urgent effort underway from the air. More than 3 days after the fires first broke out, I just flew up over the fires with Cal Fire, and while we were in the air, we witnessed not only the devastation along the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu and Pacific Palisades, miles of homes wiped away, but also days into this fire, we witnessed the water being dropped on active fires right now. They are trying to save entire neighborhoods deep in the canyons, and you're about to see it right here. Overnight, peak winds again gusting to 81 miles an hour. Red flag warnings remain in place tonight, and they are very concerned about strong winds in the forecast yet again. It's believed some 12,000 homes and structures have burned to the ground. At least 11 people have died. That number is expected to rise. Our ABC News exclusive right here tonight, the view from above as we travel with Cal Fire. We were in the air late today as crews dropped water on Topanga Canyon below as they try to save homes in Fernwood. The Palisades fire, the biggest by size, more than 20,000 acres now, home after home, street after street, turned to ashes. Just 8% contained. New fires continue to flare up, this one breaking out late today. And tonight, the Eaton fire in Altadena and Pasadena is now the most destructive in LA history, believed to have destroyed more than 7,000 structures, homes, and businesses, just 3% contained. Just 24 hours ago, the Kenneth fire erupting in West Hills, burning over 1,000 acres in just a matter of hours. 8,000 firefighters and emergency personnel now deployed here, including the National Guard. Firefighters from all over the country stepping in, but most live here working around the clock in horrific conditions, some losing their own homes They are the heroes here. And tonight, the questions now being asked about decisions made early on in these fires. But we do begin tonight with our flight with CAL FIRE up over the devastation and the fires here still burning as we come on the air here in the West on this third night from California.
Tonight, the ABC News exclusive. We take flight with CAL FIRE up over the Pacific Coast Highway, headed toward the Pacific Palisades. And the first images we see here, the coastline. The homes of Malibu that once lined the ocean are gone.
It's just stunning to look at this stretch along the Pacific Coast Highway here in Malibu. You can see it right over the shoulder here. Home after home just completely gone.
They are taking us to where they say there is a firefight right now from the air. They are now dropping water. But before we even get there, over this ridge, the Pacific Palisades, entire communities wiped away, homes burned to the ground.
This is just a devastating view as we fly over Pacific Palisades. You can see down low just how quickly these fires spread.
CAL FIRE Deputy Incident Commander Justin McComb.
When you look at the scope of the devastation here, what kind of winds were you dealing with in those first 24 hours?
The winds that we saw were 70, 80 miles an hour along the Pacific Coast Highway, and that was what the environment...
Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mother, lost her cherished Malibu bungalow, a sanctuary she lovingly called her happy place in her grief. She took a moment to thank firefighters and first responders, reflecting the collective gratitude many feel for those who risk their lives battling these infernos.
The firefighters were dealing with, there was embers just flying across laterally. Very difficult to even do anything as far as perimeter control. They were putting the edges of the fire out. It was mainly going house to house and protecting as many homes as you could. And the priority was to work for the life safety to try to get people out of the fire.
He tells me 3 days into this historic disaster, they are still fighting the fires here. We see bulldozers on this ridge, trapping the fire.
You can see the flames burning over our shoulder here. This is now 3 days into this. Almost impossible to get to that.
And then we see it. Choppers in the air, crossing the canyon, dropping water, trying to protect the homes with flames moving in.
You can see the urgent effort here right now. This is Topeka Canyon. They're trying to save the homes in Fernwood. That helicopter just dropped water from the air. 3 days into this disaster, they are still fighting fires here, and they have a tool now at their disposal, which is water in the air.
There are so many fires still burning here, more than 72 hours now after the first fires began. Tonight, the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, the Hearst fire, the Lydia fire, the Kenneth fire, and the newest fire to break out, the Archer fire, all still burning. Back on the ground tonight, the families returning home to see what, if anything, is left. The father who told me his wife, his 2 boys are safe, but they lost everything. And while we were in that neighborhood, we learned of another family nearby. They had not been back. One of the children, 21-year-old Jacob Brown, going back today, and he showed me what he found.
David, I'm sure you saw, the entire town is gone. Our lives, our homes, our friends, everyone has lost everything. I don't understand how you can attempt to rebuild an entire community without schools and roads and homes. It's devastation beyond the comprehensible.
Jacob's childhood home, now nothing but ashes. He rings the doorbell of a friend's home, haunting because it still rings, though behind it there is nothing left. The alarms still ringing here in what was once a church and a school.
There's still hot spots, active fire.
Just a few miles to the east, David Hansen is still waiting to get back in to see his mother's home.
LA Fire Department, total heroes, doing a great job.
David giving a thumbs up to the firefighters. His mother, Senior, capturing video from outside her home just 30 minutes after the fire broke out nearby. Her neighbors were trying to use water from their pool to protect their home. Tonight, across Los Angeles, at least 11 lives now lost. It's believed more than 12,000 structures, homes, and businesses damaged or destroyed. More than 55 square miles burned. more than 150,000 under evacuation orders.
Jamie Chung and her husband Brian Greenberg didn't just lose a home, they lost a piece of themselves. Yet, in the midst of their grief, they used their platform to direct followers to fundraisers for other fire victims, showing the power of community and compassion in times of need.
We want to take you now to a press conference where Los Angeles County officials are giving new details on the impacts from the windstorm affecting the region's wildfires. Let's take a listen.
To go out countywide yesterday after the first erroneous alert was corrected. We've been working tirelessly with FEMA, the FCC, the state, and our region's telecommunications providers, and we've made the preliminary determination that the echo alerts happened as cell towers came back online after they were knocked offline due to this disaster. The outdated alerts were cached in the system, and as they came back online, started being released to the public. We are very grateful to our federal and state partners who are working with the cell phone providers to make sure that all of these outdated alerts are flushed from the cell phone towers so that this ceases. We believe this process is largely complete, and we are working with our federal partners and the providers to ensure that there is not a reoccurrence of the alerts going out in error. This has been frustrating, unacceptable, and the public is in the most need of accurate information, and we are moving forward rapidly to reestablish that. Finally, the press release spells out some of the immediate improvements that we are concurrently making to establish a more robust multi-layered notification system. We're enhancing 211 call network to respond to the public's urgent need for information. Technology, it can be great. These emergency alerts helped us evacuate hundreds of thousands of people in immediate life safety measures. We've undoubtedly saved lives. But the last couple of days have also reminded us that technology is vulnerable to the impacts of a disaster, especially unprecedented ones. So I will close by reminding everyone in the public, please, for your safety, the safety of your family and friends, to receive emergency alerts, you can sign up for our local program, which will be utilized by the state by going to Alert LA County. These are customized alerts. They are different than the wireless emergency alert. When you sign up, you can put landlines, your cell phone, you could receive text and email messages.
Celebrities come together in solidarity. Actor Liam Hart addresses the media. This isn't about fame, it's about humanity. Footage shows stars like Emma King organizing donations and food drives. We've lost so much, but we can rebuild together, Emma says, her voice steady despite the devastation. The clip ends with volunteers packing relief kits for affected families.
Thank you so much. Look at that.
Let's go through a couple of these clips here, Rob. If you can pull up. First one I want to go through is Diddy. So here's Diddy Combs. He is on Breakfast Club. And Charlemagne the God is asking a question.
Scenes of crowded roads filled with cars trying to escape the inferno. Families hurriedly load their belongings, while others leave with nothing but the clothes on their backs. A young girl clutches her teddy bear as her father reassures her, "We'll be okay." The camera captures the anguish and fear etched on every face as the fire edges closer.
Palisades fire, as multiple law enforcement sources tell NBC News that a possible human cause is an early focus in this case.
They're identifying cause and origin for each of these separate fires. There's so many of them. None have been ruled out of arson.
The death toll has now reached 24 and expected to rise, including 95-year-old Delise Mamadi Curry of Altadena.
That was her refrigerator. This is where she would be.
Her granddaughter looking for her remains in what's left of her home.
Mama D, are you here?
Officials today urging residents to stay out of evacuation zones.
People are saying, I just want to go look at my house and I want to see what's left. We know that, but we have people literally looking for the remains of your neighbors.
Law enforcement in the region announcing more than 70 arrests, including looting and burglary charges. The FBI says unauthorized drones over the fire zones are now well into the double digits as they search for the drone pilot that crashed into a Canadian super scooper last week, grounding the aircraft for days. Today, the Los Angeles Unified School District reopened most of its 1,000 campuses, giving students some return to normalcy.
I've been pretty scared coming here, but I feel, but as long as the doors are open, I feel safe.
Schools damaged by the fires or inside the evacuation zones remain closed, with tens of thousands pushed from their homes, now forced to start over. One estimate says the insured losses are already at least $30 billion.
Right now, I'm trying to just keep it together to find us a place to live for us, temporary living for our family and my parents.
Andrea Heindel lost her family home, as did her parents.
How tough is it?
It is tough. There's millions of people looking at millions of different places, and so we just have to figure out one step at a time how we're going to handle it.
And with the winds bringing the possibility of new fires and destruction just like this, some homeowners plan to take matters into their own hands. Once again, Gotti Schwartz tonight with their stories.
We're gonna help you!
For days, so many across Los Angeles faced off against apocalyptic wildfires. Some homeowners defying the evacuation orders, choosing to protect their properties amid the hellscape.
We need a water drop. We need a water drop.
The Los Angeles wildfires have shaken not just the city, but the entire nation, leaving devastation in their wake. These aren't ordinary fires. They've turned into monstrous forces, tearing through neighborhoods, consuming over 40,000 acres of land, and reducing more than 12,000 structures to ash, with evacuation orders forcing over 105,000 residents to flee and another 87,000 bracing for the worst. The magnitude of this disaster is overwhelming, but amidst the chaos, some of Hollywood's most well-known faces have found themselves grappling with loss, heartbreak, and the resilience to move forward.
Sprinklers, hoses, generators, pumps, and tonight facing new red flag warnings, some Angelenos say they are preparing for round two. In wealthy enclaves, rows of water trucks and private firefighters standing at the ready.
And right here we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different water trucks. There's another 3 down the way.
Those in the evacuation zones who lived to tell the tale of how they saved their streets say they did what they could with high-pressured hoses.
So we were in all of our neighbors' backyards and lugging our hoses around.
In Altadena, Felipe Carrillo saving 2 houses on his street with a garden hose.
I caught on fire a couple of times.
You caught on fire?
Yes. And so what I started doing is every once in a while, I would just spray myself with the garden hose. Just soak myself with the garden hose and continue to fight.
Fire officials say those who stay to fight the fire are putting their lives at risk. 66-year-old Victor Shaw died in the Eaton fire. His remains found holding a garden hose. Right along the coast, owners of this row of homes had their own fire hoses ready and some willing to risk their lives.
There's another hot spot that just started up. So we're hooking up our fire hoses again to put it down before the wind starts again.
When the fire rolled in, Clayton Colbert and his friends stood their ground, tapping into the hydrant and saving 6 homes.
Do you have any firefighting experience? I mean,
I do now.
Yeah. What do you think would have happened if you and your neighbors weren't here?
Oh, my house would have been gone in a matter of minutes.
Tonight, Steve Foster's home is still standing, but most of the surrounding community is gone.
It's been difficult, but we're getting through it.
Would you leave?
I'm not leaving. I've been here the whole time. I have no intentions of leaving until my neighbors are back.
And Tom, technically, it's a misdemeanor not to evacuate during the chaos, but it's not always enforced. However, firefighters say, bottom line, every moment during a firefight is precious. And if they have to be pulled off of a fire line to come save someone that is not supposed to be there, it not only jeopardizes their lives, but puts the whole community at risk. Tom?
Gotti Schwartz tonight for us in Malibu. Gotti, we thank you for that. And for those who have lost everything, another crisis has quickly emerged. Where will they find a new place to live?
Music producer Daniel Hayes recounts how he barely escaped his hillside home. The fire was at my door in minutes, he says, his voice trembling. I grabbed my cat, my laptop and ran. Drone footage shows his once beautiful property reduced to ash. Yet, Daniel remains hopeful. What matters is we're alive. We'll start over. Emergency teams sift through rubble, searching for survivors. A rescue dog barks, alerting its handler to movement. It's a miracle, the rescuer says, pulling a frightened boy from the debris. The boy's mother sobs, overwhelmed with relief. The scene underscores the tireless efforts of first responders amidst unimaginable destruction. In a local shelter, displaced families share stories of courage and loss. We lost our home, but not our spirit, says a mother of 3, handing out blankets to others. Volunteers serve hot meals as musicians perform to lift spirits. The clip ends with a child saying, "We're going to be okay," embodying the resilience of the human spirit. Experts discuss the long-term impact of the wildfires on the environment. It's not just homes, it's ecosystems, says Dr. Elena Park, surveying a charred forest. Footage shows injured animals being treated at rescue centers. This is a wake-up call for climate action, she emphasizes.